Hey guys, I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. I've never been more bullish about oil than I am now. B-2 bombers were deployed in Yemen, dropping bombs, bunker busters on deep bunkers in Yemen. And this escalates the war substantially. America is involving themselves, and this is a direct message to Iran that, hey, we're in this thing and we will respond to you. And at any moment, Netanyahu is going to attack Iran at any second, okay? And we don't know what infrastructure they're going to attack. They've been sending mixed signals. Of course, they're not going to tell Iran exactly what they're going to do, and they're not going to tell the world, but they have a plan, and it's going to cause escalation. And recently, Russia is attacking civilian ships. That's a war crime. The fact that Russia, a superpower, is attacking civilian ships is escalating the war substantially, and America has to involve themselves. And so I'm going to read a couple news articles and talk about what's happening here. But again, I've never been more bullish on oil. And recently, Eric Lee at Citi Global, energy strategist, predicts that crude oil could reach $120 per barrel by Q1 2025, up from his previous estimate of $80. Okay. And his points were the primary driver for this bullish scenario is geopolitical tension, okay, which I agree with him 100%, particularly potential conflicts involving Israel and Iran. Disruptions to oil infrastructure could result in a significant supply cuts reminiscent of the 2022 Russia-Ukraine situation, okay? Now, here's the deal. The reason why oil right now is around $70 a barrel is because of OPEC plus spare capacity. Despite the potential of disruptions, OPEC plus has about 6 million barrels per day in spare capacity, which could mitigate major supply shocks. Countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Kuwait could increase production to stabilize the market. Okay. Now, the base case for Q4 2024 remains around $74 a barrel, with a possible decline to $60 next year if no significant disruptions occur. Now, I agree with him and I don't agree with him, okay? And let me explain, okay? $60 oil. We were at $63 a barrel when we had the biggest financial crisis the world has ever seen. In I believe it was January of 2009 when our demand crashed and the financial markets were a mess. Oil dropped down to $63 a barrel. Now, back then, oil was really about $43 a barrel, but today's inflation, it was really worth about $63 a barrel. I strongly disagree that oil could hit 60, especially the fundamentals of oil, especially with what is taking place with oil. I strongly disagree with what he's saying, okay? Now, the bull case, what he said about the bull case is driven by the risk of escalation actions leading to oil production losses. Okay. China's demand is uncertain. Global oil demand is also impacted by economic concerns in China. Now, the market is watching closely for potential physical stimulus that could boost demand for China. But now, here's something you have to understand. China is bypassing U.S. dollar. Okay. When China was primarily using U.S. dollar and not trying to evade sanctions, not trying to go around the U.S., not doing business with Saudi Arabia and Russia and UAE and these other countries buying oil from shadow fleets, we knew we had a strong idea of exactly how much oil he was importing, how much oil they were using. Right now, they're bypassing systems that we have. When I say we, America and a lot of American analysts have access to. How in the world do we know exactly how much oil China is consuming? How do we know exactly how much oil Iran is consuming? A lot of this oil is being bought and sold from shadow fleets, okay? I truly believe that the demand in the Middle East is actually stronger, okay? But it doesn't benefit China to go tell the world, hey guys, we're actually importing much more oil than what the market's telling you, because they get a better price for it. Geopolitical risks are viewed as tail risk, okay? Low probability, but high impact. Even if the chance of escalation is small, the potential consequences could lead to significant price spikes, okay? I also disagree with that. Netanyahu made it very clear. He told Iran, he told America, I am going to attack Iran, period. If you don't think that doesn't escalate the war, then you're a horrible analyst, okay? Now, The oil market remains binary, sensitive to sudden changes. The situation could swing prices in either direction, making predictions challenging and requiring careful monitoring of geopolitical developments. Okay. Now, here's what you have to understand. B-2 bombers are attacking Yemen. Russia's attacking civilians. They're at war with Ukraine. The war in the Middle East is escalating. There's many things that could cause a geopolitical tailspin in the Middle East. And you look at what's happening with BRICS. I mean, today there was a 4-hour televised event with BRICS. They are going to control a good portion of the global oil supply. It's transitioning the world off of the US dollar system to their own system. Okay. Here's what you have to understand. It's not the same system that we had before. Imagine a world where America cannot sanction these countries in the Middle East anymore. Imagine a world where Russia cannot be sanctioned. Iran cannot be sanctioned. Imagine a world where the BRICS has their own system. I mean, the BRICS is the largest group in the world. They have over $60 trillion. G7 doesn't even touch that. They are growing substantially, and they have a massive amount of oil. If they get their way, they are going to control oil and the price of a barrel of crude. Trump is threatening, if he comes into office, and he's saying, hey, if you use another currency other than the US dollar, we are going to put 100% tariffs on anything that you export to America. Now, here's the thing. That makes sense in a world that America controls the system. But if BRICS is in full operation, controlling oil, now they have a negotiation chip here. Okay, if you want to sanction us, if you want to add 100% tariff, making it not economical to export to America anymore, cutting off a huge buyer of products, because that could really severely damage China's economy and in many other countries' economy. Okay, you want to play that game, America? We are going to cut you off from oil, or we're going to price barrels of crude to the West at a much significant higher price. Now, so many people's responses, man, we're producing over 13 million barrels a day. First off, we're producing less than that now. The shale oil is on the decline. I think last I checked, it was about 12.8 million barrels a day. It's declining. We only produce 12.8 million. Let's just say 13. Let's call it 13 million barrels a day. We produce 13 million barrels a day, but we consume much more than that, and we import a lot of oil. We still need Middle Eastern oil because we do not have the infrastructure to refine the oil that we produce. We rely upon the Middle East. We rely on Canada. We don't have enough oil. And the oil that we produce today, most of that oil is a fast declining asset. It's not like Saudi Arabia, where they could drill a well and it could produce for 60 years with a tremendous amount of oil. But their oil fields are aging. Russian oil fields are aging, where American oil fields are not even a tenth of as old, but they are declining faster than 60-year-old fields in the Middle East. So to put simply, we don't have enough oil, and they could cut us off from oil and cause us to come begging for energy. I'm telling you right now, the reason why America is inserting themselves in the Middle East, they're realizing that their promises about green energy and them not needing oil is completely political. It's propaganda. They used it to get in office. The truth is that they need oil. Otherwise, they wouldn't insert themselves into this war. They wouldn't care. I mean, if they weren't worried about oil, they would have already attacked Iran's nuclear facilities. They would have already attacked Russian oil fields. They would have already attacked Saudi oil fields. They've turned a blind eye to Iran because they need their oil. Because at the end of the day, oil is king. And if oil prices go up to $150, $200 a barrel, it would erode our economy. It would destroy our printing press, our ability to control the world. We control the world with US dollars, which is why they have used the news and every outlet they can to put a wet blanket on the truth about the price of a barrel of crude. At the end of the day, the markets control oil, and the markets are controlled by the news, period. I don't know anybody that doesn't believe what I just said. And so all you have to do is control the narrative. All you have to do is control the news, and you control the financial system. It's amazing how that works. And so they make billions of dollars by saying all the right things to all the news agencies. And so here's the deal. Fundamentally speaking, oil prices should be much higher, that's the reason for BRICS. They want to bypass all of it. They're tired of it. Okay. I truly believe that we're heading to a place where oil prices are going to hit levels like we've never seen. Now, here's what you have to understand. Netanyahu's strategy here. His only goal is to eliminate the people that are attacking him. Their country is at a standstill. Imagine living in a world to where at any moment your building that you are working in and the home that you live in could be attacked by Iranian missiles, by Houthi missiles, by Hezbollah, by Syria, by Iraq, by all those surrounding countries. You're just one small little country surrounded by all these countries that hate your guts. Imagine at any moment you could be destroyed and attacked. At that point, when you're in a place of fight or flight, you're not thinking politics. You're not thinking economics. You're not thinking about prosperity. You're going to do whatever it takes to protect your country. Imagine you're the one that has to keep your country safe, and you're targeted by Iran. And then you have American politics telling you not to attack Iranian nuclear facilities nor oil facilities. I truly believe that Netanyahu is giving us a lip service, but he has so much power in his hands. Number one, if he attacks, because Netanyahu, he wants a red blood in office. He wants a Republican in office, okay? And they've accused him for election interference, okay? If Netanyahu was to attack Iranian oil facilities, it would drive energy prices up like you wouldn't believe, reducing the chance of a blue blood to get into office, increasing the odds of a Republican getting into office. That's number one. Number two, he would destroy Iran's ability to finance the war. It would destroy his ability to finance their own military, their own nuclear facilities. It would destroy their ability to fund all the proxies like the Houthis, Hezbollah, all the other surrounding countries that are funded by Iran. It would end everything for him. And I'm telling you, I truly believe that he's going to attack more than just a few military sites. And even if he doesn't, even if he sticks to the script and he does exactly what he said he was going to do, Iran's going to retaliate to whatever attacks that Netanyahu does to them. And it's only going to escalate from here. I'm telling you, we're in a mess, guys. And it's not the same. We don't live in the same world that we lived in 10 years ago. Global trade is changing very rapidly. BRICS is growing substantially, and they are fueling 6 billion, the non-OECD countries. They are going to be the front runner where people go, where India goes, where China goes, where these emerging markets. See, listen, the West isn't growing. We've already seen our glory days. We're not growing. We're retired. We're like these old men that are angry and trying to tell people what to do. And now this young, vibrant country that has nothing but potential, if they scratch the surface just a little bit, the demand for oil will skyrocket. The BRICS, which surpasses the G7, their GDP surpasses it substantially. They're going to have explosive growth, and they're going to have a power. And see, this is why America is involving themselves. You think about what is coming down the road. They bypassed the U.S. dollar, strengthening their currencies that they trade. It's going to force our dollar to decline. And all of a sudden, we're having to trade more dollars for oil. Oil prices are going to go up just simply because the U.S. dollar, the value of the U.S. dollar is decreasing. And we're going to lose a lot of that oil in the Middle East. It's not going to be as easily accessible as it once was. And during this whole process, shale is on the decline. Think about where can we find more massive amounts of oil? We added 8 million barrels of oil from 2012 to 2019 to the world markets. No country has ever been able to do that. But it was a flash in the pan. It was like a weed where these Saudi oil fields and these Russian oil fields, these Iranian oil fields, these Middle Eastern oil fields, they're like these solid oaks that just continue, where the shale fields are very fast in output, but a very fast decline. So on paper, it looks good. On paper, it looks, the EIA keeps shoving it down our throats that Shale is increasing. Oh, we have a surplus of oil. We have an extra 2 million barrels of oil that we put in the SPR, the reserves. Okay, that news is to put downward pressure on oil. The news knows how to spin it in a way, and it's not the news' fault. The news, I mean, these news anchors, I mean, they're actors. They don't know anything about oil. They don't understand BRICS. They don't know what evil is. They live in a $1 million house. They eat steak. They drink the best wine. They live a lavish lifestyle, and then they come and they're given script for today. I mean, they are actors, and then they act out the words, and they make it sound really interesting and really exciting, as if they're experts. And then they bring these experts that agree with their thoughts and their politics. Okay, and the ones that are bullish, the ones that are like preaching doom and gloom or the impacts of BRICS or the Middle East, it's the markets shrug it off. And it comes down to what the markets believe. The markets believe that we have enough oil. But I'm telling you right now, the production that we have from shale, it is going to be short-lived. It's not going to last. We are not developing enough oil for tomorrow's demand. The non-OECD countries are growing. The Middle Eastern war is escalating. Netanyahu is going to respond, and it's going to be detrimental to Iran. And it's going to cause the markets to go, especially for oil, to put a tremendous upward pressure. I truly believe we're going to be in a completely different situation next week. I'd be very surprised if nothing happens, if what's happening in the Middle East doesn't materialize and doesn't start really impacting and influencing oil. But either way, if oil prices continue to stay low, even in the face of adversity, with geopolitics being heightened like we've never seen before, all it's going to do is reduce the amount of capital being deployed for tomorrow's oil demand, and it's going to reduce the amount of supply. So whether oil prices escalate or they drop, at some point fundamentals are going to take over because we're not producing enough oil to prepare for tomorrow's demand. And the media is pushing information that oil demand is going to decrease. We're in a surplus of oil. Don't believe any of those things. It's all a strategy to control. It's impossible for oil prices to be where they are without Western influence. If you removed Western influence, if you got the guys in suits reporting news, you got them out of the way, and you allowed fundamentals to really just take over, oil prices would be far higher than they are now. And that's for sure. All right, guys, I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. If you like this channel, please subscribe, and I'll continue to keep reading the news, keep you guys informed. Please comment below what you think about this video. If you have any interesting articles, any interesting theories or thoughts about this, please comment below. I'd love to hear your opinion on what's happening here. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Thanks.